This is Lawrence C. Adams. This is when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. Join us today as we talk about the Will and Chris Rock situation. Yes, there's still more to talk about. There's so many layers to it, but we're going to talk about it had to happen. It had to happen. But I didn't tell you what exactly had to happen, but it had to happen. And once you understand what we're going to break down today, we're going to give another view that you may not have thought about. But today we're going to talk about it had to happen. Will Smith, Chris Rock, Jada Smith, it had to happen. The dynamics of all the actors on this stage. Hey, let's talk about it now. Let's go. Live today. This is when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. We are live today. We're talking still about what's going on with Will Smith, Chris Rock, Jada Smith. We're still talking about that today. We're going to bring some dynamics into it that you didn't think about. Shout out to Sigma. Shout out to Bernie. Shout out to everyone who's watching the clouds. Thank you so much. This is Lawrence D. Adams. Yesterday, we talked about an important scripture in the Bible, Proverbs 14:1. It says that a wise woman builds up her house, but a foolish woman destroys her house with her hands. Paraphrased it, that's what it said in a nutshell. And you got to think about with everything that's been going on and all of this with Jada and Will, and now Chris is in the narrative now. This had to happen. As much as we wanted it not to happen, we hate that it took place, but I'm here to tell you that it had to happen. It had to happen. It had to happen. It had to take place. It had to take place. And the reason why, I tell you later why. I tell you why it had to happen. But it needed to take place. It just needed to take place. This whole scenario, especially at the Oscars, on the world platform. Well, it was on the platform that became a world platform because of what took place. It had to happen. One of the things we sometimes we try to fight is something that's taken place and saying it shouldn't happen, but it already is. The damage is already done, or the situation has already happened. So we have to accept that. Okay, you know what? This has taken place. And I know a lot of people have said, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of this shouldn't be going on. But there's so many nuances to what took place and how it happened that is content for days. But I'm here to say today, as a content creator, as a thinking class and everything that we do here, we got to realize that this had to happen. Should it maybe happen a different way? We always want it to happen a different way than what it did happen. But in life, situations happen the way they do. I think that's what most people are missing. It had to happen. The problem is we wanted it to happen in a box in with a bow, and we wanted it to be pretty, and we wanted everybody to like it. That doesn't happen in life. It doesn't happen in life. So it this situation had to happen. It had to happen because not only did it expose Jada and Will and Chris now being in the narrative, guess what else would have happened? It exposed everyone else. So this had to happen. What happened is what we need to do is congratulate, okay, you know what? This has taken place. This was a scenario that didn't look good for all parties involved, but it had to happen. What we try to do we try to reconcile in our mind how it should have happened. That's what we try to do. What's going on, Sigrid? Right. I'm resonating. I fully agree. It had to happen. It has to happen to you. Absolutely right. It has. What's going on, GT Entertainment? So it had to happen. This is the thing. We try to fight things from happening because it didn't come in the box and it didn't look as pretty as we think it should have been, but it had to happen. If it didn't happen then, it would have happened somewhere else. So it had to happen. It had to roll out and take place. But what we try to do, and I'm gonna repeat myself, we try to reconcile in our mind how it should have happened and the many nuances of how we think it could have happened. But once you realize that this sugar honey iced tea had to take place, then you can go from that step on and move past it. So now it becomes a learning lesson to all parties involved, but mainly it becomes a learning lesson to who? Those who view it. So once you, the audience, the viewer, realize that this situation had to happen, whether it was real, fake, or indifferent, it has happened. What happened is we do not want it to happen that way because as much as we say we don't like bad news, sometimes we do like bad news and we like things that happen the way they did. This not only exposed, and I'm using this exposed the players in this situation, Will, Chris, and Jada, Oscars, and everything like that. But it exposed also who? You. So this was going on, John. This had to happen. This had to happen. We got to stop fighting and say, oh, this could have happened this way, it could have happened that way. No, it had to happen. There is a bigger purpose why this happened. And that's a tough pill for us. Make sure I got my sounder. That's a tough pill for us to get grasp because we wanted to, John, we wanted to be, we wanted the little bow on it, and we wanted the flower on it, wanted the Easter bunny to hop right on top of it. Sometimes situation happens and they are freaking messy.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the journey you're talking about was really just for the two of them. Chris made a choice to honor what somebody wrote for him and play it and say it publicly. Who's to say all the jokes didn't hit the cutting room floor? Then you have the other journey for Will, which is to keep his own composure and understand the value of the situation rather than reacting to how he has been basically being consistent for the last few years with all behaviors when it comes to Jada. So you have to really look at it like that. Like somebody made a very interesting point. He went after stardom. He went after multi-mega movie stardom and let Jada take a back seat for so many years. And he changed that particular tune. He wasn't putting his family first. He wasn't putting her priorities first. And she gave him indications, many indications, that this was over. And he wanted to fight for it and keep it. And this is part of his fight. It's always going to be part of his fight now. But Will was still Will. That's why he laughed at the joke.
That's what I'm saying. We can't fight this narrative that you just painted right there. That this had to happen. To my initial reaction and shock was, oh shoot, why did this happen? But I had to think about it. This morning I rolled over. I said, you know what? This sugar honey iced tea had to happen. I just happened to be the one watching it like, interesting.
Did you see the Tupac letter?
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I seen that. Very interesting, ain't it?
You think it's true?
I don't know. That's dude, that alleged letter is like very very incriminating to any man's masculinity when it comes to his wife. Very incriminating.
I mean, there's a whole smear campaign going on right now.
Yeah. It is. That's why if we play it correctly, if we play the cards correctly, it's so much we can say about it, but until we reconcile that this situation had to happen, and it's like you said, it's not for you and I, it's for those and Chris Rock just happened to be just jumping put his foot in the water and got caught, but it had to happen.
Yeah, like I don't blame him per se, because you have to look at his background and look at what he came up on. You could see why he followed the path he did, and you could see he doesn't take the normal path because he knows either way he has a possibility of getting screwed. I'd rather take the path where I get the most money. Right? Think about it.
Right.
He doesn't have much faith in either path. Okay, he went to a white school. They beat him up. So that's why the whole phrase "everybody hates Chris." Everybody in his house hates him, and everybody that knows him hates him. Everybody he ends up at hates him. This is the past. This is his past built, moniker and his personality. So for him to just take the path where he's gonna get the most money, no matter where he's hated, that you got the result. You got
it.
You can't blame him for, how he behaves on. He's always been consistent. You're getting the same man you always got. What you really need to really understand is how a person like Will, who doesn't have a history built up with him other than negativity at this point, got 5 years of interaction. You could tell they never really interacted because he would have more respect for him if he did. But because he never interacted with him from 2016 all the way to now, it's always all you got is these bad transgressions. So, to show you're behind on public TV is a combination of the two. What you haven't been doing right at home and what you have not built with Chris.
Right.
And I think that's a bad thing for you to sit there and we've experienced it right on this channel. If you don't build rapport with somebody properly, then it just has to be completely just desecrated. It can't ever be if we don't ever come to the meeting of minds understanding. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a sad thing, but if we start beating each other up publicly, that's even worse.
Yeah. It is. It's very weird. Let me get she stole my thunder. Sometimes sugar honey's iced tea has to hit the fan in order for you to realize that some people are taking massive dumps in your home. Wow. Yeah, so it's a learning lesson that it had to happen, but it's a learning lesson that I think it's for those two individuals, for all the individuals in there, but it's also a learning lesson for those who are the observer, who observe it objectively. We can all be subjective in what we say about this whole situation, but to be objective about it and say, you know what, let me look at this and say, where are the nuggets of truth, and where are the places where I can personally, as a thinking class, think I've been in that situation, and I see how I identify or do not identify with Will, with Jada, or with Chris. What, and then think of, then it goes to the point where, what if I was potentially in that situation, what would have been my reaction? Would I would have slapped Will Smith back? Some parts of me feel like I just would have, but I had to think. This all happened so that it can be a learning lesson on the deep level, subconscious level for a lot of people. It's a wake up call. It's a wake up call. It's a wake up call.
I mean, just the fact that we could discuss it in so many polarizing ends means that there's people that identify with pieces of it, not the whole situation. The only persons that's really going to identify with the whole situation is Will, Jada, and Chris.
Right.
Okay, because there's a lot of stuff you don't know about either one of their situations that became the secret sauce or the perfect storm of these events.
Yes.
And guess
Yes.
what? You have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You have to deal with it. The internet loves to come together on subject matters that pose a huge, what they call viral activity. So that's the reason why you're getting all of the different opinions and all of everybody jumping on the bandwagon of it, even us talking about it. But I think it's important for you to be have an observation of what really happened here.
Yes.
Okay, if you could look at what builds up to these moments, you could tell that they were avoidable, but at the same time, they were inevitable.
Yes. That's my point. It was inedible. It was just like, it's like the Doppler news that we have a storm on the rise. It's going to hit on Sunday, and it was going to happen. The dynamics were already, look, the city, where he said at, where she said at. We talked about even the cameraman. Where was security? Everything was like the perfect situation. So salutation to your new platform. Like your content, good brothers. Good to see you, brother. You love show. Good to see you. Good to see you. So yeah, so it had to happen. But the problem is, when we, as the observers, don't sit back and say, and learn a lesson from it. There's lessons in all of this. We can criticize Will, we can criticize Chris, we can criticize Jada, we can criticize the Oscars, we can criticize security, we can criticize the mamas, we can, because Will's mama said something. We ain't heard from Jada Pickett's mother yet. We can criticize Willow in the letter. We can criticize. The thing of it is, all these things are just the surface level of what's really going on underneath the surface with this situation. But the problem is, we have to be the keen observer, or we have to say, let me look at this for real. Let me think and not be emotional about it. Let me think about this. Because we can hear, dude, I heard everything. I heard every angle. And I maybe haven't heard every angle. I heard some one guy was talking. I can't think of his name. I think it's Jason. I can't think of his Jason. And I heard Sterling Cooper say a little bit something. Some other people say something. I heard Fresh and Fit say something. I heard some other. Everybody has their own, their own dynamic of how they're hearing it. But the thing of it is, you cannot fight this because it's already happened. Can't fight it. Stop trying to fight that has happened. And two, wishing it would go away.
Yeah, I think what we got to really look at is, hey, you know, some people out here for their own gain in this conversation, and other people are out here to teach you something about what happened.
Mm.
And the more I evaluate what happened since that day, I'm learning more. Not from the people that are just making opinions about it, but I feel like I'm learning more from the people who respond or I would say, relate to the situations.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We already know that their truth is already their truth.
Yeah.
But what we don't know is how people should identify with it.
Yeah. And that's what's going on, Alfie. What's going on, Kenosha? So yeah, so it's you be the thing of it is, and you said a word and it sort of triggered me, and that is when we stop becoming the reporter. This is Jews News 9. This what happened. What happened is a lot of content out there, and I digest it, I'm guilty of it. It's just reporting. And like you said, it's not causing us to say, think, think, think. It has, thank you, Sigma. Yes, it has to be a paradigm shift in what's taking place. And I know what happens is we begin to paint the situation with our feelings and not with logic.
Yeah. I mean, the whole reason why the world is being exposed to this is not so much for you to get mad at their situation. They're responsible for their situation. Everybody takes responsibility for their situation. As a matter of fact, as my mom used to say, you're going to bear the consequences of all your actions, whether you get a good outcome or a negative one. You're going to bear the consequences of it. Okay, so that situation is for them to bear. The reason why it's being discussed is because it's polarizing in our community. We literally feel one way or the other about this. There's no one commonality. If there was any one commonality, we wouldn't even discuss it.
No, no.
Thinking everybody else is just idiots
Hmm.
who a small minority, and then the people that are in the majority would be winning. The fact that it is literally a 50-50, we're giving a lot of attention to the female side of this. Oh, there's a protection that we don't get in this community. And if you think violence is the protection method you need, you're wrong. Um, there's the side of the sympathetic Will who deserves all this attention because he shouldn't have gone through what he went through, and now he's now paying the price through, these actions that he's taken that are not responsible, right? How many people believe that that's correct? But in a way, you know what? Any action that causes you to go up and go slap somebody, that should really be evaluated as something bad, not good.
You're right,
Then
right,
you have the third opinion of Chris Rock. Why did he take the stand that he took to not think about insulting another black man that he doesn't have that much information about and started off on the wrong foot many years ago with?
right.
Nobody's taking responsibility for these things. They just take a side, you see? And what you need to realize is that it was the consolidation of all these events
Thank you.
that caused what happened. It wasn't just any one thing.
Correct. And that's what happened is a lot of times we are polarized on what you say, like on just one side and not the the holistic side of what took place. That's why I'm so adamant even today. I'm standing 10 toes down that it had to happen. It had to happen. As much as I didn't want John, I didn't want it to happen. Even in the beginning of the week when we talked about it and what it has done to the image of per se black people and then black males of the reacting in violence. But at the end of the day, I had to reconcile within myself and say, you know what? This I can't fight it. I gotta allow it to say, you know what, it is taking place. I have to move, I have to take the lessons that are there so that I can, in my own situation as an observer, say, you know what, I get it. It is well.
Yeah,
It's well.
yeah. And there's nothing good that could look on the surface of this situation.
Yeah,
What could you tell me was good about that? Nothing.
nothing.
It looks like irresponsibility. It looks like reckless. It looks like violence. It looks like charges should have been filed. It looks like people should have been punished. A lot of things should have happened here. But if you're still discussing it, you probably should identify with how it relates to you and how you could take something from this. Maybe that's why the example exists. Maybe that's why the occurrence was so polarizing. Because if you don't apply something from this particular situation, you'll end up in a situation where you might have to give somebody a cue to defend you. You might have to be the one doing the defending, or you might be the one offending. You could pick your role in either one of these three situations and decide who you want to be and can you do it differently.
That's it. That's dude, man. You didn't capsulize it in a nutshell. We all have an opportunity to play all the I like to say it because it sounds crazy. Shout out to you. What's going on, Joe Blast? To shout out to play either all the roles, and it's not gender specific in none of this. We have the opportunity to do it.
I mean, I almost expected it. My wife came right out of left field. Oh, Jada, women just been having the women all the time. I'm like, I hear you. And I'm not saying that the man shouldn't defend his wife, but he didn't do it for her. He did it for him. And that's the part you don't get.
Right. Right.
If you looked at his true opinion or his true reaction, he was laughing at the joke. As soon as he figured out that his whole family was under attack and not just Jada's hair, he got up and slapped Chris. When it was just her, it was funny.
Yeah. And that even that right there, because I went back and studied in 1960. I think I got to look at the I got the exact year, and I think a lot of people quoted from to Malcolm X that the most unprotected woman in the world is the black woman. She's the this and this and this, and he goes to the whole dissertation about the black woman. But I had to think about it from learning in Bible school that you never take anything out of context. What was said before, what was said after, and what's saying right there. And what women were he were talking about that are not protected, and what women that he said that we will kill you for. That all makes a difference in the narrative of what he's talked about. So, because I heard a lot of people say, "Well, you know, Malcolm said it's about the black woman." Yeah, brother, but yeah, sister, but what woman is he talking about? What woman is unprotected? And so, even in this situation, you said your wife brought that up. This has been going on for black women a lot. But what woman are we talking about? If we were to be very clear, is unprotected or gets this kind of treatment, and when women do not have to worry about being unprotected. There's the whole dynamic of that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, trust me. I don't have no basis for the women's suffrage. Let's put that on the table first. But women's suffrage is a real thing. Okay, we've seen it.
Mhm.
Okay, we've seen the purple that Hillary wore. We've seen the white that um Kamala wore. So trust me, not saying it doesn't exist. We know it exists. That's why we have to make a statement about it. But what I can tell you is it's coming more so from the people who've been taught about this independence. So what happens is when you have been given a foundation of independence that you don't need nobody, what happens is you get an instant wall put up about you, and then the defense goes up. And what we're trying to tell you is you don't have to be exactly like that. Me as a father of two daughters, I'm teaching my daughters how to function. I'm not teaching my kids how to be defensive. Okay, we're not outside doing karate and making sure you could block a man from touching you. What you need to do is finesse them into getting what you want. Okay, and the first person they try to finesse is me. And I make a decision whether I want to allow that to happen or not, because depending on how I respond as their father, their first male interaction they've ever had is how they're going to get results and feel they can be successful in other situations. That's how you fix it.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And trust me, my wife has very high feministic tendencies, but I'm still going to do my part. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't know if she's trying to distill it in our daughters, but what I could tell you is we together, based on the results I could see, and I'm talking about from guidance counselors all the way down to teacher interaction, they're saying we're doing a pretty good job. And it's because they're not just getting some one-sided view.
Thank you.
If they got the male view of everything, they'd find a way to run over a man so quick and destroy a man. But if they got the female view all the time, they might stay away from one. You get what I'm saying?
That's it.
If they see both of our opinions and then see how we react to each other, we could argue and have a heated debate. We never get to the yelling point. We never get to the physical point, but we could have a spirited, heated debate and then be laughing about a TV show we talked about a couple hours later. That, to me, is more important than trying to prove how much you can do. And I think that's the foundation to making sure that you can be a functioning person in society. That to me is the only way.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that's been ripped out when we think about even in this situation. It's that all three parties need each other.
Everybody.
John, think about it. They need each other.
And I'm not just talking about the black community, but just let's focus on the black community just for a second, right?
Yeah.
Those three black people represent a percentage of almost a minority, not in society, but in high society.
Yes.
Those people all got 7 figures of their own money.
Right.
Jada got 7 figures of her own money. Will got 7 figures of his own money. Maybe we'll say about maybe 8 or 9 figures. But Chris has his own 7 figures as well, maybe 8 figures. We know that there was a class difference between the two of them about maybe 10 times. But what you really need to observe is the fact that you had 3 high value people fighting. And they have a responsibility, not just to the community, but to themselves to protect their own legacy.
That's it.
When are you going to realize that that's the real critical thought here?
Yes. That's, man. Come on, man. Because we always talk about the high value, right? Shout out to KS for that, bringing that all into the forefront.
In
But
this
now,
case, you can see all that went out the door.
yeah, they immediately turned into Pookie and Ray Ray.
You might as well have been on the streets of Philly. You got into one little fight.
Yeah, right. The rap song. Did he plan that?
I don't know.
Think about that. Anyway, but yeah, so you think about that. Here, these people are high value in the sense of what they achievements in their career, the earning power, the status that they have, and the ability to touch people. But at the most critical time, it all broke down, and that's something we need to really look at there on that stage because that plays a part on really comes down to character. So you can have all those things, but if your character is not intact for all three parties, what is it? As the Bible said, what does it mean to gain the whole world and lose your whole soul? There's some souls in these three parties. Somebody's soul is lost.
True.
It's lost. And that's what we need to look at. And that's why I want to emphasize again why it had to happen. If you do not, if you, as much as you resist it happening, and they're gonna do, and we're gonna boycott them, we ain't gonna do this. And I'm seeing some things online. I'm like, okay, good. You don't understand the what you're doing is you're reacting and not responding to what happened.
Yeah.
And what happens is we have to look at this and say, this had to happen. Don't fight it.
That's what you have to. If you don't look at it from a standpoint that it had to happen, not just for them to learn, but for you to learn, then you're not going to get the real lesson in this. And to take it just a little further, how about you needed to witness this even though the consequences were not your own? Some things happen so you can learn it. Some things have to show its face so well so you can learn it. Yeah, we don't like the fact that it was Will. These are three people we all like.
Yeah.
Individually, we like them.
Yeah.
Some of them together, like Will and Jada, kind of toxic. Will, he's a funny guy. So is Chris. He's a funny guy.
Right.
Comedians in their own right. Will, adventurous, trying to change from who he used to be to being a brand new person and paying a lot of penance because of it. You could tell this woman does not want to be there no more, but he's trying to become who she always wanted. And maybe, I hate to get off my other full example, but maybe the reason why she is being so opposing to this particular new version of him is because maybe she liked the other guy better.
You said it earlier.
Maybe she liked the guy who stepped out and did what he wanted to do in their open relationship. And the other theory was maybe it wasn't him who presented the open relationship theory in the first place. Maybe it was her because she already voiced her opinions about who she wanted, and he gravitated to, hey, do what you want to do, but I want to remain a family. That actually sounds more realistic.
Yeah. It does. It does. That's the thing we need to look at. It is what's going on, Blackjack. Good to see you and good to see you in the chat room, brother. So yeah, we got to really look at the dynamics of what is taking place with this, and that's a very good point, John, about she may not want the family will. She may want the will that was going to go after the next Independence Day, the one that's doing this, the one that's doing that.
The one that we used to hear about, oh, they got a 3-story trailer at the movie lot. While the co-actor only got a 1-story trailer. Like, it's like the fact that you wanted your desire and your drive for what you wanted to get every piece in place. Maybe that's what she misses.
And think about what Blackjack just said. Look what you remember read his comment because this applies to what you just said. And she said she wasn't pleased and he wasn't pleasing her in the bed. It was not the physical. That's what most man. He ain't lit. It was not the physical that he was not pleasing.
I'm gonna say something gonna go over everybody's head. If you start sleeping with somebody different, you would not be satisfied.
Uncle Allen, don't get on me, Uncle Allen. Right, crack him up.
Think about it. That's not the Will she knows. I'm not talking. I see y'all thought it was August I was talking about. It wasn't. No, the person she knows is in who she finds next. That's why she went and did it. The person who she was with is not the person she knows. So she's not getting what she wanted. Yeah.
Bing bong.
Maybe she's a little more in tune than you think.
Yeah.
Remember, we always say, you're going to find you when you fix who you are so that you can get what you want. She already said, I could fix this. And it don't matter what his name is. See, because his name could be January or August. I'll be gone till September. See, she was with August and gone till September. Let me stop. All right, let me stop.
And we hypothetically saying that she could have been fixing this and Will never would have been able to please her in bed.
Well, here's the thing. You're actually right. Okay. But you're not looking at it from, I want to say the word metaphysical, but I want you to think about it as almost like a subconscious thing. Okay. If your mind knows what you want and you could literally, not like a puzzle and put it together, but take it more like Legos, where I could shape it exactly the way I want and recreate that every time. If somebody took those Legos and broke them apart, the image is still in my mind. I could put it back together very quickly because I know what I want.
Yes.
she could put together what she wants very quickly outside of her marriage. That's why you get entanglements. That's why you got definitions of what's right and what's wrong in the marriage. She's got an idea of what it is, and she can literally build it from any male parts she wants. All you gotta do is behave. All you gotta do is behave, right? But you could be disposable too. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't want to destroy the family unit, so what I'll do is I'll make the entanglement last a certain amount of time, and then let that end, because the piece inside the nucleus or the completed unit, it's got that one fail point. You see what I'm saying? I'm not. This is not definition for permission. Okay, what it is dissecting what we believe. We don't know what the real issue is here, but what we can tell is there's some real fail points, and they keep coming up as he keeps trying to become a better person that he wants to be. But that necessarily does not mean it's her choice that she wants to have that new person.
And so that goes back when you said it, it makes me think of the blueprint in that letter.
Yeah.
That letter from Willow's letter.
Like I said, I ain't buying it 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless one of those two people say that was from her, I ain't buying it yet.
Yeah. But I will buy into the fact that that blueprint is still there inside of her, like you said.
Oh yeah.
What she knows, what she's in tune with, what pleases her in the bedroom.
Oh yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, she think about it. Before Will, she was one of the most highly desired women in Hollywood. You telling me Tupac was the only name on her list? Get out of here.
No.
Think about it. In our generation that watched, come
Jason
on.
Lear. I went to the movies to watch Jason Lear. When they were laying in the grass, I was like, I thought it was me laying in the grass next to her.
Yo, even Low Down Dirty Shame. Supposed to be a funny movie, but she reminded me of Holly. The sexiness just comes out.
Yeah.
It's like everybody was like relating to how they could possibly have a chance.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, but see, you gotta look at it from that standpoint. Will probably made her an offer she couldn't refuse, and literally snagged her and got her to love him. You get what I'm saying? That wasn't just a conquest. Tupac was a conquest. Some other people were a conquest, and yeah, maybe those were lasting memories in her mind. But he captured her heart. They literally named their children alternates of their own names because they of the love they had for each other. So you got to look at it from a standpoint. There was a lot of compromise made, and maybe that time people it had a time limit. And look at it like this: what if Will would have became the person he is now back then? The marriage probably wouldn't have lasted.
It wouldn't have. It wouldn't
She
have.
wasn't looking for the type of person he eventually is trying to become.
Yeah, yeah. She wouldn't have, matter of fact, it would have ended within a year or two. I don't think the kids would even been here. Maybe two, maybe one of them would have been here.
She was the one that had the black book. Wasn't Will married before?
Yeah, he was. Beautiful too. Oh my God. Beautiful.
Okay, so what do you think he believed in?
Yeah. What's going on, Trav? Yeah.
What do you think he believed in? He believed in marriage. It wasn't just being with women. He looked at his own household and wanted to fix it. Why do you think? Why do you think the TV show that he was part of was so identifiable to him? Because it was true.
Yes.
Jada, I'm thinking let's go all the way back to a different world, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Let's go back to a different world. She had a pick of the litter.
Oh yeah, she did.
She have no choices. No, I'm sorry. She have no problem with choices.
Right. Anybody she wanted. And
And I'm
that,
not saying Will didn't, but Will wanted more than that.
yeah,
Will always wanted to have the family because he had control of that and he wanted that. Jada had control over what she wanted, which was choice. And you see it. It must have been, like I said, I told you this yesterday. It must have been a deal made. We don't know. And like I said, I never actually officially said that he was like the sleep around type and he was the one with the open relationship, dominance and stuff like that. I never said that. What I said was he made her agree to something that he now has to pay back for. And maybe it was her own promiscuity.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe it was her own promiscuousness that was in question. I would allow this open relationship. It's like Monique's husband. Like
yeah,
he gets a hall pass. Remember that?
yeah. What's going on, Coach Justin? Yeah,
So what? She traded her own decision making ability so her husband could rationalize hall passes, which means you don't. She doesn't get a choice, but he does.
right.
That's
But
that's a whole other dynamic. But it's also it hasn't just hindered her intimate relationship. It's hindered her whole darn career.
yeah, yeah.
But these are the compromises people are making to look like success.
And that's the part that we said it before, is that we don't know their agreement that they have. Because he was married before, beautiful woman. He has a child by her. Matter of fact, she was going to a particular preacher's church. We know, and but that dissolved. Then he went out. Next thing you know, he was smitten by Jada. And remember, prior to that, let's think about this. He was smitten by another bad girl, Pepper, from Salt and Pepper.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, he was smitten by her, but she would not deal with him because he was too nice, and she was smitten by Tretch.
Tretch. Yeah, I remember Tretch from Naughty by Nature.
Yeah, from Naughty by Nature. But look at the archetypes. Tretch and Tupac were what? Buddies. They don't get this, man.
Ignore that, right?
Huh?
Can't ignore that.
Tretch and Tupac were buddies. Will was enamored by Pepper from Salt and Pepper, and he loved her. But she said in an interview, go do the interview, go back and look. She wouldn't deal with because he was the nice guy, cool, whatever to hang around. But she was enamored by who? Tretch. Now, fast forward, Jada is what enamored by Tupac. Okay, we're just talking here, but Tretch and Tupac were road dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Road dogs. Like somebody was doing something in one room, the other one in the other room. Catch it, catch it, catch it, catch it. So think about it. Much as we don't want to say it, much as we don't want to say it, that bothers Will.
Mm-hmm. Because people have a type.
Yeah. Yeah. That bothers Will.
People have a type. And maybe, Will was good for her stability. Will was good for her image. Will was good for a lot of things that was positive in her life. But the heart wants what the heart wants.
Yeah. And thanks for correction. He didn't leave his first wife for Jada. Thanks. Good point. He did not do that correction on my end.
He's saying, didn't he leave? He's asking the question.
Didn't he leave his first wife for Jada? I'm not 100% sure on that. But look what you said, John. The heart knows what the heart wants.
Oh yeah.
Yes, think about it. We go a little bit closer, we zoom in a little bit closer, we observers. There's a type. If we look at Pepper and we look at Jada, we'll see something. There's some commonality between the two of them.
Yeah. We have to also look at the fact that people have a responsibility once they figure out what they want and they know it's not a cookie cutter situation. It's literally up to the person who have those desires to be responsible for their actions.
Mhm.
And could it be, let's say it like this, could it be that her responsibility was suppressed? And she chose suppression all those years instead of expression.
Mhm.
Some people, if they have tendencies or some kind of wants and desires, they try to find a different outlet to express themselves. But maybe she wasn't expressing herself the whole time. Maybe she just now got into the entanglement phase. And guess what? She couldn't help herself but pick somebody that was notable because maybe maybe that is part of the desire
Yeah.
that you always liked hanging out with the people that were famous and notable.
Now this made this bring now you when you say that made me think of another scenario. What if he never met Jada and he would have got Pepper? Would this same situation would have happened with Pepper?
I think we pretty much concluded that he has a type.
Yeah, 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 yeah. What's this is a learning lesson. Men and women know your type. Sometimes, like you said, the cookie cutter, we're trying to make somebody who is our type fit into a what? A bag that they can't even they're not designed to be in. They're
Yeah,
not designed to be in. That's when you have to be honest with yourself and say, you know what? This is my type. This is what turns me on. This is what I like. And that's the thing. That's the thing we need to realize. But I'm glad we went down this trap. I didn't think about it. I'm like, wait a minute. And then Tretch.
these are all theories. Like I said, we don't know the truth.
Yeah, yeah,
These are
yeah,
all
yeah.
theories.
Yeah,
What I can say is that you get the results of what their decision making process was.
yeah, yeah,
You see the results of it.
yeah,
You can call it any type of category you want. But all I can say is for them, it's reality at this point.
yeah, it is.
They got to deal and pay with the consequences of their actions and their choices.
Yes, yes.
Okay, if
Yeah.
you want to boycott the Oscars and then come back several years later, you're gonna pay some consequences. Maybe it might be with some darn jokes. Okay,
Yeah. Humiliation.
if you're gonna not make amends with a fellow black successful high value person, that person will feel like you're open season on them all the time.
Hmm.
I bet you if they had a conversation after that and say, listen, which I heard they did. I heard they did have a conversation
Hmm.
about the Oscars. And the conversation was that they didn't want Chris to host. I heard the conversation was apparent and he didn't agree. And since then, it's been bad blood. It wasn't the fact they got made fun of in the Oscars. It was the fact that they had a conversation before those Oscars where he asked him, listen, they're not representing of black people, but you stand on stage being their ringmaster. That's what the problem was. Anybody else never picked up on that? They did have a conversation.
And since they had that conversation, what do Chris think about what they said about him?
Think about it. He went right back and flipped on him. He went, I'm going to go. He probably went and told somebody, hey, these guys don't even want me to host, but I'm hosting.
Right.
And then that's when the jokes come out. The jokes came out about them not attending.
Right.
I'm going to double down back on you. You don't want me. You just want me. I've watched this happen, bro. I have watched this happen. Don't do that. Leave that bag on the table. Wait a minute. You're costing me money and don't have nothing to back it up.
Right.
You
Right.
wouldn't hand me. I mean, it's. I know you can't get paid to do it. That's something that's my wife made clear. So to host the Oscars is a decision in the craft and in SAG and in being part of the community.
Right.
But some people do it because they want their they want that on their resume.
That's right. It's a resume booster.
They want to be able to say they did it.
Right.
So that would in 2016 that was his first opportunity to do it. and they told him don't do it. What else you got for me?
Right.
Okay, am I gonna be in Bad Boys 4? No, you got nothing for me. And I'm just making up an example. My point is, you got nothing for me. You're just telling me not to do it. So on top of you telling me not to do it, I'm gonna double down and make fun of you during the process, and that's where the bad blood started.
Right.
Now, how many conversations you think happened between the two of them after that point?
Yeah.
Okay, he didn't come back and say, "Hey, listen, it wasn't a detriment to the black community. Look at that. We got more people winning more than ever." That could have been Chris's argument, right?
Yes.
Will could have said, "I ain't like you talking about me, even though I said I wasn't coming." But you know what? I understand you're a person trying to get the paper. Let's let bygones be bygones. If they would have had that conversation postpartum in 2016, you wouldn't have got to 2022 where he's on the cutting room floor again with the jokes.
Right.
Because
Remember
he
me?
understood. Listen, we had an understanding. Now, when you don't have an understanding, then everything's open season. But if you do have an understanding, it was like, oh wait, you know what? That's old news. Let me not bring that up again.
Yeah.
So let me double down on it.
Yeah.
Most comedians do.
Right.
You're
And
not
why?
gonna censor me. I'm gonna make you feel worse about it.
Because you didn't have nothing for me. Good point, man.
You told me from the front, from the audience.
Yeah. And from what I understood is that it was Jada who wanted to boycott and not Will, but Will went along with it because of Jada.
First of all, how many movies has Jada been nominated for?
I'm like, I wish I had that thing, but like that little boy, but like that man, like, I can't think of none.
It's been Will's dream
Yes.
to be more than just an action star. He wanted to define himself with more depth. Okay? King Richard, great movie. But it was designed for him to get an Oscar.
It was crafted. Yeah.
It was designed.
Yes.
The role and the script was designed for Will.
Oscar.
You telling me after he boycotted it, he was gonna stay away after a nomination? It was designed for his Oscar. And he wanted to punish them for a couple of years, and then I'm gonna come back and sit right on top. And in his greatest moment, that's when the enemy said, "Oh, I still got something for you because you tried me.
Yes.
You tried me. I'm gonna make sure it's the same person. You tried to change the trajectory of the Oscars the last time. Remember I told you the world is round? The
Yeah.
world is round. What you run away from, you run into.
Right.
And guess what? The same person who he tried to influence we're talking darn near we're talking 6 years ago now, right? 6 years ago. The same person. It's funny how God will put you right in front of the same person again. And have to meet that and have to address that. He could have made that a very productive interaction. He embarrassed himself.
Yeah.
God showed him the same thing again because he never learned from the last time. He tried to influence it and take away from the credits. Now you the first thing on the front page, and not for a good reason.
Yeah. And we look at it when you said that, gentlemen. This cat, you just said this kid. Chris Rock is getting the money from the first situation.
Oh yeah.
Think about it. He said, "What?
He got some money last night. I heard last night was his first tour date since the thing. And you think, yeah, he apologized too publicly. But you think he gonna talk about that?
Oh, for sure, for sure. So if you're saying that they don't get paid for the Oscars to host it, right?
Not. It's supposed to be an honor.
Think about it. And if I'm understanding correctly, Will and Jada asked him not to do it. And we're saying in this narrative, we're just talking, where am I going to get mines? So many years later, it's coming around and Chris Rock got his.
Yeah. and he used the same mechanism to try to take it from him. It was Will and Jada before. It's gonna be Will and Jada now.
And guess now they have now paid the price, or they're opening the door for him to get paid.
I'm telling you, if I didn't see so many things on the back end about this, I would have thought this was a whole setup. It's unfortunately I understand how the universe works. That even what you think would be a setup, it's because the master is always working. The master is always designing.
Yeah.
The master is always working for you and designing something for you. You
Right.
may not know the course, you may not know the exact results, but the master is always putting something together for you.
Right.
You're not supposed
Always.
to know the whole story. You're supposed to learn from it. You're supposed to get the experience from the journey.
Yes. Definitely. And that's exactly what is happening. You look at you look at it, pull away, and what you say, you think about it. Yeah, it is his own asphalt. Chris Rock has now reaped the reward from what took place in that conversation and them not wanting him to.
The Academy cannot come back to him because he followed instructions. Remember,
Yeah.
somebody else wrote that joke. He got hit, never retaliated.
Yeah.
He apologized for something he didn't have to really do, but he really was apologizing for the Academy.
Yeah.
The same way Will only apologized to the Academy. He apologized for the Academy, not to the Academy, but for the Academy.
Correct.
Look at it like that. His upcoming tour, which will result, of course, in I believe probably a Netflix or something like that coming up. Make no mistake. I think it's him and Kevin Hart, right?
Yeah. No, I think I'm not sure who. I don't know.
I could have sworn it was Kevin Hart.
It may be. But whatever, they're getting the Netflix out of this.
Think about it. I don't need Will and Jada to supply my needs. I'll take shots at them all day. Especially since they ain't have nothing to do with my movie career.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If Ice-T got more to do with your career that was an ex-rapper than Will Smith, it's something's up.
Right. He said, "What I seen that meme." He said, "Ice-T is looking for Will who hit Pookie."
Pookie.
I seen that meme. I was like, you know what, y'all hilarious. I don't know how, but it's the truth of the matter. That's why we said this had to happen.
Yeah.
This had to happen.
So
And
much at stake. Such a simple thing that could have been avoided had to happen.
It had to happen. And I'm glad you exposed it, Jono. Now that you exposed it, we understand the layers of why it had to happen and who it had to happen for.
Yeah.
It had to happen for Chris Rock. He is reaping $43 to $1,000 a ticket.
Yeah. And that's how Netflix pays you. You know that, right?
By the tickets?
They pay you by how many tickets you sell. So if you go on tour, right? This is why Monique's mad, and this is why Dave Chappelle's happy. They go and take all your total year's ticket sales, and then they take that's your pay for the special. So look at like this, not the sales, but the amount of tickets. Get it? So if you sold, a couple 100,000 tickets per venue, like you gotta do some people gotta do six shows in a weekend for a venue. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That could equal a few 100,000 depending on what size of the venue is. 20, 30,000 seat venue, whatever. Now, if your tour has about 25 dates or whatever, you could be talking millions of tickets, not revenue. Revenue is going to be in the multiple millions. But
Right.
remember this, promoters, you didn't just get paid. Everybody gets paid,
Right. Everybody eat.
especially if you got a camera crew and everything. Especially if you got, special features and staging and lighting and everything. So you got to understand what they offered Monique was based on her sales. They offered her what, 250,000
Yeah, but she wanted more.
sales. The reason why they could offer Kevin, or they could offer, I don't know if they offered Kevin anything yet. I think he's still on another contract. But they offered Dave 60. One, it wasn't just for one special. It was for several projects, including a movie, and they based it on his sales. So, baby girl, get your sales up.
Right. And now, Chris Rock, his sales are up.
Oh yeah.
His sales are up. So this tragic
So the Mike Epps special, you know, he's up.
Yeah. Yeah, he got specials. And you know you're gonna talk about.
Well, no, he just did his Netflix special's already recorded.
I was recorded.
So
Right.
it's already up. You can watch it right now.
Yeah.
But you know it was based on his sales. He ain't gonna complain because they use a system. They're not here to insult anybody. They're here to use a system. If you can sell this many tickets in the seats, then we know how much exposure you're gonna have on our platform.
Right. Makes sense to me.
Not here to insult anybody. But no, she married, I want a hall pass. So she thinks she needs a hall pass now.
It didn't work that way, baby girl. That's why we, once again, if you didn't get anything from this stream, please understand this had to happen. This had to happen. The universe said, yeah, it's your turn, Chris. Come on up. Might not like how it's going to turn out, but you're going to like them. You're going to like that paycheck. It had to happen. Like it or not, or indifferent. And for people to still be talking about it, especially for us to be still talking about it. Baby. This is game on the, we just gave the game spirituality and the game right there, tied up right there. It had to happen. So you might feel sorry for Jada. You might feel sorry for Will or even Chris. But who's at the bank right now doing like this? How old people be doing?
Oh, believe you me, they both at the bank.
Yeah. At the bank. Keep talking about it.
The only one who's still not sure is Jada.
She's know what bank she's at? She may not be at the bank of where Chris and Will is at, but she's at the bank of empathy.
I hope
Which
so.
has no bearings.
I hope so. Her actions tell a story that we're gonna see hasn't finished yet.
No, she's not done. It's like she's in the Matrix and she don't even know it. She's in the Matrix, and you think about the character in the Matrix when I watch the last Matrix. This old woman barely getting around and was disgruntled inside of the Matrix. Boys, well, life and art imitate each other. But this is happening so in so many other ways in life right now. She's planning on doing a table talk about what really. I pray she doesn't do a table talk.
The table came out of their house.
Oh my God. I hope she's not planning on doing a table talk about this.
She's so comfortable with this red table. It's because that table was in their house for years.
Yeah. And then for her mother to come to the red table, then they bring Willow. But who didn't come to the red table was Jaden, I don't believe. I think they did have a family time. But still, ladies, I'm trying to help you. Watch that. Don't be thinking you want to go get a red table. But we're just talking today. She's so stuck in the Matrix. She's so stuck in the Matrix role, and he's stuck as King Richard. Wow. Oh, my from all the way from Mississippi, Monica Kingdom Diva Cooper says what? Jada go kick rocks. Manipulation at its finest. And I know Monica personally, she ain't just saying that to say that. She ain't just saying that to say that. Many of us are about to experience our Chris Rock moment in so many ways without the slap. I hope you don't get slapped. Don't need to do it. But with that being said, join us tomorrow. You get to call in tomorrow. We have gone over today. You get to call in tomorrow, and we want to hear from you. Everybody get silent now. Y'all got time to call in, talk. I don't like it. This ain't right. Say it with your chest tomorrow. We want to hear from you tomorrow. We want to hear from you tomorrow about this situation and what we talked about and the angles that we brought. Especially, I never thought about it until we talked about it, about Jada and Pepper from Salt and Pepper. Trent, what's his name? Trent, what's his name?
Tretch.
Tretch and Tupac being buddies. Never thought about that until now. And if you hear somebody else talk about it, they heard it from here. God bless them. Join us tomorrow. Join us tomorrow as we begin to go into tomorrow. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear what you got to say. You may want a red table in your house. You may want to get slapped. I don't know. It doesn't matter where you're getting slapped at.
Some of y'all just had a regular table and you painted red and put it on TV.
Right. Life has slapped me enough. Bring on the blessings. I hear you. I'm with you. I'm with you, Monica. I'm with you. Yeah. So y'all make sure y'all don't bring no red table, red nothing. And you getting tired of getting slapped, we want to hear from you tomorrow. If you want somebody to look at you like they're your mama and they ain't your mama, oh, wait a minute, Blackjack. Why you say that? Pepper said Tretch was whipping her. So somebody was getting slapped. And I know he was. I heard that story. It's a lot of things going on here. A lot of good. So tomorrow, join us tomorrow. We want to hear from you. You can call in. You can call in through Facebook, Instagram. You can call in. You can get the link and join us tomorrow. You don't have to come on cam, but I got to know who you are because you start talking crazy. I'm going to exit stage left. But we want to hear from you tomorrow. This is Lawrence D. Adams. That's Jono. Dude, we brought the heat today. Hey, I ain't heard no commentary like this nowhere. And I've been listening to everybody. Everybody's talking about it from the sense of, Jada's the woman and Will's the man and he's a simp. Okay, we heard that narrative already. But what about
everybody take responsibility for their own actions?
Yeah. And who's talking about Will Smith's archetype of a woman? I ain't heard that nowhere. Or even, and wait a minute, I just thought about it and I got to go. His mother was getting what? Beat by his father.
He said he couldn't do nothing about it.
Tretch whooped Pepper. Oh, man, it's too many dots just starting to go. You know what I mean? It's too many dots starting to connect. Could it be that Jada always wanted a man that would put her in her place?
Or have the impression thereof.
Huh?
Or have the impression thereof.
Correct. Why she loved her some Tupac Shakur. He said his mom got him feeling like he was a savior of all women. I ain't gonna. Wow. Remember when I said this, and I've been saying this all the time. Anytime you become a savior to anyone, you're bound to go to the cross. His reputation, has gone to the cross. There are a lot of women that secretly desire being checked. I got a story about that. Maybe I'll share that story tomorrow. I think I should share that story tomorrow, John, about that. About a lot of women secretly want to be checked. I got a story too. I never forgot that happened in Atlanta. Will wasn't the guy to do it because of what he went through. Correct. Very good point. Very good point. But we gotta go, man. Y'all. This happened yesterday. It was time to go. Everybody wanted to keep on talking and talking, talking and talking and talking and talking. She actually, uh, she's actually who she's supposed to be with her own protection, and she's so evil and doesn't realize it. Okay, a woman wants a dead man. What? I want to know a dead man and someone else. Someone else is alive. Yeah, I understand. We got to go. Let me put the thing up. You don't got to turn the camera up. I got something for that since I've been playing around on here. We can still talk and do this. And magically, boom. Oh, it didn't work. Nope, that ain't it. Come on, Adams. You just figured it out today. And boop. Wow, look at that. We didn't turn the camera off. So we got to go. Jado, you think they got something today?
I hope they did.
Yeah. Hope they got something today. Peace. Make sure you like and leave a comment afterwards so we can get the algorithm up. We got to get at least 10 to 100K this year. We got to get this. Any Barry Manilow fans gathering here today? No, later, homies. Peace. We out of here. No music. We got the music. We out of here. Shout out to the editor. Great job on this thumbnail.